while it's cold. Thank you all so much for being here. I know it means a whole lot to everyone involved in putting on this show. So we're going to get right to it. I'm going to introduce our panelists. First up, we have Pat. Thank you, Pat. We also have Rick. Aaron. Mo. Lisa. Rod. Mike. And Dexter. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. As we all know, it's difficult to have conversations about important but divisive topics. I believe Breaking Bread Village has created a safe space for voices to be heard, for us to slow down and actually have the conversation instead of running at the speed of Facebook comment threads. And what I think is really beautiful is Breaking Bread has brought empathy and personality, humanity back to that conversation, especially online, which is so impressive. Erin is an impressive woman who has put this together. So please continue to give her a very warm welcome as Erin comes down to lead her first live audience of Breaking Bread Village.
Conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming out today. Let me put this mic on. I know I talked really loud already. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming today. I'm just so excited. I'm really overwhelmed with emotion right now. I'm a crier, so I'm sorry. So this is something that I envisioned last year, where I wanted a group of us, part of my village, to come and sit down and actually break bread together and have a conversation with respect, with empathy, and love, and to also be able to enlighten each other, because a lot of times we just don't know what other people think because we don't open ourselves up or take ourselves out of our own bubble. So this is an opportunity to do that. So I'm really happy everybody's here today, and let's get started. Sorry, I just had to breathe a little bit. I'm just so overwhelmed with joy. So we're going to get started with our topic. We have I love our panelists today because they come from so many different backgrounds and different perspectives, and that's what I wanted for all of us to be able to, because when we talk to each other, we're all saying the same thing. I mean, that gets kind of boring, right? And I like a little excitement, so here we go. So we're going to just start off here. Our first topic is marijuana legalization. So that's going to be our first topic, and we're just going to just kind of dive into this and kind of see what everybody is thinking. Mo, did you want to start and kind of tell us what you think about marijuana legalization?
It helps me. I have my medical card. I deal with chronic pain in my knees and my hand. Ever since my mom died in 2015, depression, anxiety. I tried prescription medication from talking about. They said you take two people who hate each other, you give them alcohol, somebody's gonna end up dead. You say, take those two same people, give them marijuana, they're the best of friends. Seriously. And you love everybody. And that's how I feel. I mean, and then if you look at it, let's just be honest. If you look at it, it became illegal because brown and black people were using it. And they demonized it. They even made it where this, either it was a man and woman, they were from Mexico, two different situations. But the mother killed her kids and herself. Okay, she had other stuff going on.
Yeah.
The marijuana didn't contribute to that.
Okay.
Another man went on a killing spree, and they used marijuana. Okay, no. There's other things going on.
So you're for it? I'm taking it.
I look these days because it's legal here. If somebody says they don't do what I'm doing, because it's legal.
Well, and
It's not wrong. I'm not judging, but it's just
everybody has their different perspectives. Does
Exactly.
anybody else have an opposing, does anybody think that they should use it, or is anybody else for it? I'm not just saying that you do it, but I'm just saying.
I'm for it.
Okay, for it, everybody's for it? Lisa? Jordan? Karen?
I don't really have an issue with it. I think the real upside to it being legalized is that your chances of having something laced with something bad is probably not as frequent, and so, I don't
Which
know.
is
I mean,
something
initially
that
I
is
struggled
right
with
now.
it a little bit, but everybody's got their thing, and I know it helps a lot of people, so, for pain and for issues, so.
Sure. Now, I'm going to ask you, Rich, because you have a history in law enforcement. Have you seen anything with it where you feel some type of way about it? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm an attorney, so I'm on the other side of the fence, and
A defense attorney.
I'm actually the chairman of the Marijuana Law Committee for Genesee County Bar Association. So I'm very in tune with what's going on with marijuana laws. I represent a ton of dispensaries and things of that nature. So I have no problem with the legalization of marijuana. I don't use marijuana personally, but anybody that wants to use it, as long as they're abiding by the law, I have no problem.
Awesome. Dexter?
I think the legalization, I feel like so much of the legalization stuff has been around, there's been a lot of politics and a lot of the grandstanding. And I really think it's been much ado about nothing. I think the states where we've seen legalization, we've seen huge tax booms. We haven't seen like the marijuana as the gateway drug and all of that, kind of drug war and stuff. All of that prognostication ended up not being remotely true. And it's just, marijuana is just kind of taking its place. We're like in the, I don't know, the pantheon of legal substances, that are, that are appropriately regulated. Right? Yeah.
Rodney?
I oppose it, but I do not oppose the medical aspect of utilizing marijuana at all. I do oppose the recreation aspects.
You don't want people to have fun with it, just.
Right.
Okay, and why do you oppose it? I'm just curious.
Well, years ago, I was teaching school back when I was at the Caveman. There was a drug program that the state police was putting on, and one of the programs, I was very much into it at the time, and they were teaching young people how drug habits affects on individuals and so on. Marijuana was one of those drugs. And out of that program, eventually the state police stopped the program because what we were doing is educating people on how to use it. And they were abusing it. And so the whole program died. And that was one thing that I was quite, myself personally, was a little bit sorry that I was involved in it. I was doing it for the right reasons, but the results were not that good.
So, my next question is about the death penalty, capital punishment. So I just want to say, I I want you all to tell what you feel, but I'm going to tell a little bit about, and this is one thing that I am very strong about. I am not one, I don't really advocate for capital punishment. And I'll tell you why. For me, and I guess even right now, we're seeing a lot of people that they're finding out we're innocent, right? But they're already gone. And that happens because of, false identification. Sometimes, we know sometimes it's political, right? It's like you're getting, and I don't know if you can attest to this as a former law enforcement, but, you get that from the mayor, from top, right? Up top, and saying, like, we gotta get this solved, we gotta get this, this is a lot of buzz in the city. People are scared to walk around, we gotta get this done, and sometimes that puts pressure on, and it's like closing the case, right? Yes, so all of these different factors to me, ends people's lives. And so I'm not a person that advocates for it, but I'm also, when I look at the other side of it, I've never had anybody's life taken, right, by someone. So I don't know how that feels to want to see somebody die because they killed my, family member. So I don't put any type of judgment on people that feel that. It's just me on the outside of it. I don't advocate for it. But again, I've never watched one of my loved ones be taken away and have to deal with that. So what do you guys think about death penalty?
I'm for it.
For it? Yeah,
I wouldn't use the word advocate.
Okay.
Okay, because that says you actively, sometimes you're going to be out there actively pushing.
Which some people do.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't use the word. But I do believe that there are some evil scoundrels out there that there is no rehabilitation. And of course, our prison system, in my opinion, does not rehabilitate. Okay? They house people. And it's getting to the point that they're going out and making money off of them by privatizing our prison system. So when you get people who need help, folks are out there, committing some very atrocious crimes, and you see no empathy in them. They feel nothing. And if you put them back out on the street, eventually they'll do it again. When Criminal Minds started, I decided I would not look at Criminal Minds because I did not want to understand how criminals who committed atrocious crimes, I don't want to understand how they
And I love those shows.
But anyway, so I say that there is a place for putting some people to death. But our system is not designed exactly because of what you said. There are so many flaws in putting people in prisons that we need to kind of hold it. We need to stop it.
Sure.
I'm definitely against the death penalty. People who don't have empathy for and compassion for the crime that they've done, that's mental illness. That's something that can be treated. I don't feel that we have the right to determine who lives and who dies, period. I feel that we have a system that we can rehabilitate them, we can give them the medical help that they need, or if they need to be stay institutionalized for the rest of their life, they're institutionalized for the rest of their life, but they should be institutionalized in a for-profit prison.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Can I say something? Sure. Well, with being outside of attorney, you don't have to worry about the capital punishment because if you hurt somebody I love and care about, I'm coming for you. I'm just being honest because I get there's mental illness, but that's somebody I love, somebody I care about that you took away from me before their time. So, and I did turn the other cheek. Sometimes you gotta turn the other cheek and say.
So you're for kind of handle it yourself?
Yes, because again, is it Ms. Pat?
Yes.
What she said, it doesn't help, because you see so many people come out and they're what's the word I'm looking for? Institutionalized?
Institutionalized.
Yes, and they do stuff to go back because they can't make it out here.
Yeah.
There are no, like you said, there are no programs to say, okay, we want to make you be able to come back into society and be successful.
Right.
And then don't add it as a black person. They already have the stigma of being black. And being born black, things are already not set up for you to be successful. So then now you go to prison, and now you got that added to it.
So I agree with you all. I agree with both of you all in regards to the system is messed up. I definitely agree with that. And I definitely feel like that it's not set up for rehabilitation, for sure. So I do agree with that. Anybody else, Dexter? Yeah.
Kind of a question I guess for you. We live, our government is imperfect, and our justice system makes mistakes. And it's always going to make mistakes. And therefore, a government that kills people and is invested in killing people is eventually going to make a mistake and is going to kill an innocent person, which is murder. So how does a government that is guilty of murdering people then have the moral ground to then kill people for murdering people? It's a moral paradox. And is the government's right to kill people, our right to have that catharsis, so important that we are willing to take on the inevitable death of innocence that will result in that?
And that's one of the reasons why I said I would have to take it off the table, because our system is so imperfect, not just a little bit. It is, and I say that, I just, in preparation, I had to kind of study a little bit. Our justice system has been overtaken. I mean, whoever our forefathers, they had a very purist idea when they came up with the Constitution and how all government pieces are supposed to work together. Very idealized. And once you throw two-party system and politics in it, imperfection. That's my opinion. And you get that because they are not thinking like, okay, we've got all these people to protect, and therefore we've got to come up with a system that's going to really meet their needs. They're thinking about, well, I got to keep this person. So we have to, so I don't think we'll ever have a justice system that is fair. Therefore, they're supposed, like, you rather than me go out there and murder and be put in prison, I'm saying let the government do it. And I know it's imperfect, and I know they're going to kill people. I know they're also going to be murdered. So from that standpoint, that's, push and pull. But I'm like her. I've never had the experience of having somebody in my life brutalized. So I did have somebody that tried to jump my husband once, and I had never touched a gun at that point. I went out and learned how to shoot.
Well, we're gonna talk about gun control because that's something that we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, does anybody in the audience, do you all have a thought process on capital punishment?
I was hoping we were going to ask questions. What is everyone's stance in case of like a serial killer? Where like the risk to the prison staff or the risk to other prisoners is greater, right? Then probably rehabilitation is probably not possible in one of those cases. What is
For me, that would be lifetime rehabilitation, would be lifetime institutionalized. You got the mental health and whatever basic care that we need to live, but the person is dead. I don't think that we have the moral right to ever say we live in compassion.
So I'm torn on that. I still don't advocate for murder, especially as a punishment of murder. To me, it just doesn't, make sense. But I also, I think it's inhumane to house somebody in a solitary confinement area for 20, 30, 40 years. So I'm torn on that. quite honestly, and I don't know. And again, I've never had anybody that actually have put me in a position to have to really think about it that hard. But just sitting on the outside, I don't believe in murder. And I also don't believe that it's humane to have somebody stay in a small closet with no windows.
I'm not going to get into that.
No, I'm not saying, I'm saying,
In prison.
but to answer her question, if somebody is harmful, right, they put them in solitary confinement, they don't keep them amongst other people because they're a danger, you know, so it's, I'm torn. Anybody else have thoughts on that? I'm torn.
Well, I'm a constitutional originalist. That's my position. One of the things I looked at, there's some people just can't be rehabilitated. They're beyond those capabilities. There is an element of evil that does exist in the world today. I believe strongly that nobody should be put to death that they don't have at least two major witnesses to the event that takes place, or something that's very substantial. Our scientific capabilities today, with their genetics and being able to determine somewhat of the aspects of guilt is really advanced tremendously from the past. I'm kind of like you, Alex, in those movies or videos, programs on TV.
I saw something just happened right there. Go ahead.
We do have precedents in our Constitution. We do have precedents in other areas that says that if somebody has murdered someone, then that person themselves should lose their life as well. My question, my hesitation, only hesitation would be, yes, there are innocent people that sometimes get caught up in the process. But even getting caught up into the process of being wrongfully taken out, that is what I would strongly be against, is making sure, no question about it, otherwise giving them a life sentence, and something like turning it down a little bit, sets free. That has happened.
Oh, and then my question is, when do we decide that? Like, how long is long enough? That's always been my question. You know, what is long enough? How do we decide that? Who are the witnesses? Are they credible? Do they have something to gain? You know, there's so many different dynamics to that. So this is a tough one because for me, it's very tough because, again, you know, there's so many different parts to it, to where it's like, you know, if a person, you know, it was just a case, 2 weeks ago that they came out where the person was put to death, and they found out that they were innocent and the person wrongfully accused them. And it's like you can't get that so bad. It's gone, you know. So I don't know. I'm torn on that. Aaron, you have anything about that?
I'm pretty much with what everyone else has said. It's way too hard, especially with justice that we have today, to put somebody that absolutely ridiculous, especially when we get down to minorities and the intersection of that. So I'm against it. There's no way to celebrate either than what said.
They want us to lean into the mic. I'll just tell them. So we can hear a little bit better. Yes.
Before we start, I think that much more that somebody should be sentenced to death or not, we should start checking the prison system. And if not fixed before we start.
Agreed.
Oh, agreed. I definitely agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that it is really messed up. And it's biased and it's, yes, I agree with that.
We definitely have a two-tiered system of justice right now.
Yeah.
To the point that it is needs major reform. And the only way that's going to come is if we, the people, stand up and demand that we have equality and the justice system, the scales of justice.
But we have for 40 years, for 50 years, we have stood up and we have wanted reform. And we stood up and we've said, Black Lives Matter. We only have screamed against all lives matter. We stood up and said, our indigenous women are being missing and murdered. But one influencer online goes missing in Montana. She gets found in a week with the attention of the media and the public. But 17 women in Montana that are indigenous have already gone missing this year, and not one of them have been found. I just don't think that that's a system that's built for all of us. It's a system that's just built for some of us.
The idea of fixing the system. We're saying, fix the justice system. It's not justice, the justice system. And again, the conversation that we're having, and this was brought on by, the Black Lives Matter and all lots of people are now saying, let's have a conversation. But there are still so many issues out there that people have to come to grips with. And because I am a person of color, the idea of racism that people back away from as opposed to lean into, to have the hard conversation so we can get past this feeling of, I didn't do it, I wasn't there, well, my grandma that did it, all that kind of stuff. Until we all, even as Black people, half the time I don't even know what to call myself, African American, but until we all can have the conversation with me getting so angry about it, and you saying it wasn't my family, we didn't have slaves, until we get past that and just have a dump. Even for, right now it's Muslims and Chinese because of COVID. I wish there was no race at all, that we had not divided people. Because just your race is enough to cause people to dislike you. So you can't have the conversation. And so,
it's like when people say that they don't see color. Well, if you don't see color, then you don't see me.
You don't see me, yeah. So I'm just saying, this whole idea of fixing the justice system, it's not just the justice system, it's the United States. And the people who live here need to live together. And then we can start building systems that allow us all to thrive. We wouldn't have to worry about people crossing our border. We got so much land, I drive a lot. We got so much land in the United States, but yet we're sending hate. We don't want people crossing our borders. So.
I'll wrap up with that in regards to, so does anybody else have anything to add to that? Lisa, do you have anything to add?
There was a lot there.
Yes, I saw you positioning, so.
Well, I really was just moving my purse, maybe not at a good time. There was a lot there. So I believe that as far as the death penalty is concerned, I agree with everyone that it's a very difficult topic. I disagree a little bit in the sense that I do believe that there is serious evil in the world, and so I don't think that all of those situations are mental illness. But at the same time, if I had the answers, I would probably be somewhere else, right? I don't have all the answers, but I think that we have to be very, very, there has to be so many checks and balances before you actually take a life. So I don't have the answer on that, but I think that's, there's a lot there. But I definitely, I guess my main point on that is that I do believe that evil exists. And